Hey everyone, welcome back to the last tutorial of this Silhouette Paint Masterclass. By far you would have learned how to paint inside Silhouette and how to utilize all the settings for your work, and also how to render that from Silhouette to take that into any other compositing applications. In this tutorial, I am going to give you an intro about few preference settings inside Silhouette which you have access for customizing according to your workflow. For that, just go into File, Preferences. We have lots of customizable options inside the preference. As this is a master paint course, I'm just gonna show you the settings available inside the paint preference. At first, we have the option to choose the outline color for the brush in the viewer. By default, it's green. Also, we have an option to choose the opacity as well. We have an option for choosing the crosshair cursor. I will just click on cancel. If you see my brush, it's just a circle. But if you go into preference and choose on as my crosshair cursor option, click on apply, okay. Now you can see there is a plus sign just in the center of the circle, which is quite annoying for me. So I always keep this as off. Go back to preference, off, apply. Next we have an option to hide brush outline while painting. I always turn this off. Let me show you what this means. Apply, okay. Now if I'm doing some paint work, let's take color tool and you can see our brush outline is not visible right now. That means when you're doing paint work, you won't be able to see where your brush is, which is kind of annoying for me. So instead of that, I always turn off this option. Click on apply. Now, if I'm painting, I can definitely see my brush here. Next, we have an option for locking the presets as soon as you import the paint presets, which is not that important as of now. Next, we have output unpainted frame. This is kind of an important option and I always keep this on. What's the use of this? So if you are painting out few frames here and there in this work range and you are rendering that out, here I have turned this option on. That means I can render the entire work range without any missing frames. But if you turn this off, you are going to render that specific frames which you worked. If you are importing this render in any other compositing applications, just like Nuke, it will throw us missing frames error, which is kind of annoying. So I always keep this on. Next, we have an option to control the pressure for the paint strokes, which I always keeps as default. And also there is an option to apply pressure for the vacuum pen and tablet, which always is on by default. Up next, we have few settings specifically for clone brush. First one of that is absolute frame numbers. You are painting on frame number 1 and using frame 10 as your clone offset, and you are moving into frame number 2. Now in the clone offset option, the frame will be 11 instead of 10. Next, we have an option to choose the right align type, specifically the color of the alignment. So this is mostly visible inside the onion skin overlay. So we have an option to choose black or gray or a mix of both. So I always keep this as gray. Next, we have an option for allowing adjustments to auto grade. By default, if you are turning on auto grade, you don't have the access to adjust the other grade properties. But if you turn this on, you can definitely adjust the other grade properties, which can be definitely handy at times. Next, we have an option to choose default filter. I always like to keep this as catmull ROM. Here we have an exclamation sign which tells us to restart the software. So for your information, if you are changing filter, definitely restart the software to apply the changes. Also, there is an option for choosing the default source. I always like to keep this as output. Restart required to apply this change. Default subpixel state. Likes to keep this as off because that's the way I work. Restart required. Incremental offset, which is kind of important, and I likes to turn this on. So basically, what is incremental offset? It just controls whether the clone offset starts from the last offsetted position or the location where you clicked right now. Just explore and choose the right option for you. Also, there is an option to choose the right color for your overlay in the viewer. Reset frame number with transform. That means if you're clicking on reset inside clone properties, along with resetting all the transformations, it just resets the frame number as well, which is kind of useful in many cases. Show offset. If you want to see the connecting line between the clone offset, turn this option on. And there are few options for customizing colors for source outline and the secondary source outline as well. Finally, I never turn this option on because I don't want to go back to the older versions of Silhouette because Silhouette is much improved now. So always off. Use stereo offset when painting right and left views. This is mostly applied on stereo workflow, which is not relevant in this specific course. So skipping this one now. Finally, there is an option inside history as lock selection. So what this does is pretty simple. For example, if you're selecting few paint strokes inside the paint history and you're moving into the next frame, your selection will be gone. And so if you want to see the same selection in all the frames which you go, definitely turn on lock selection and this will help you. Yep. So this is all about the preference settings, and if you choose all the right option for you, click on apply and okay, that's it. Cool. So task is done. Silhouette Paint course is ready for you to learn, and I want to thank every one of you who supported me to make this happen. I know I promised you this series last year, but due to various circumstances I was not able to do that, and here I am delivering entire series free for every one of you. I'm really looking forward to all of your feedbacks regarding this course and how it helped you in learning the amazing beautiful paint node inside Silhouette. Looking forward to your comments. Till next time, it's Manu signing off. Thank you for watching.